Let's talk about a feeling that, well, it haunts almost everyone. That sense that you are constantly being watched, constantly being judged. But what if that feeling wasn't actually real? This isn't just a comforting phrase to make you feel better. It's a psychological reality. The freedom you're looking for, it doesn't come from getting everyone to approve of you. It comes from understanding why you feel like you need their approval in the first place. You know that constant low-level anxiety? That feeling that someone might notice the tiny stain on your shirt, or that you stumbled over a word? Well, that feeling has a name, and psychology has a really clear explanation for it. It's not a reflection of reality. It's more like a glitch in our own perception. Okay, so let's dive right into this. Our very first insight gets to the heart of this whole illusion, and it gives it a name so we can really start to understand it. The concept is actually beautifully simple. The spotlight effect is a cognitive bias where we walk through the world as if a giant, invisible spotlight is following us, lighting up our every move for an audience that's paying close attention. In our own minds, we're the main character on a very brightly lit stage. And this is the liberating truth. That audience you're so worried about, well, they aren't watching you. They're on their own stage under their own imaginary spotlight, worried about what you think of them. Once you really truly let that sink in, the illusion just starts to fade away. So if the spotlight isn't real, how do we turn it off? That brings us to our next insight. And it's not about fighting the thought, but learning how to simply observe it. This is such a profound skill. Think of meta-awareness as developing a second layer of consciousness. So instead of being lost in the anxious thought, everyone is looking at me, you step back and see the thought for what it is. Ah, there's that thought again, the one that says everyone is looking at me. You become the observer of your mind, not the victim of it. And applying this is actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, just acknowledge the feeling. Don't try to push it away. Second, give it a name. Okay, this is the spotlight effect at work. By labeling it, you kind of take away its power. And third, you just watch it. Don't judge yourself for having the thought. Just observe it as it comes and goes, almost like a cloud passing in the sky. And this leads us right to our next insight. See, once we can observe our thoughts, the next step is to manage the emotions they create. This is all about finding stability, not from the outside world, but from inside ourselves. This is a skill that's directly linked to maturity and self-control. It's the ability to process your feelings internally instead of needing to post about them or talk them out or seek some kind of external feedback to know that they're valid. You learn how to make yourself okay without needing anyone else to tell you that you are. So this really presents a clear choice, doesn't it? You can spend your life chasing external validation. The likes, the comments, the applause. But it's a fragile, exhausting game that leaves you totally dependent on others. Or you can cultivate internal regulation. And that builds a core of unshakable peace and self-control that no one can ever take away from you. This brings us to our final and maybe most empowering insight. This is the mindset that ties everything together. It transforms you from a performer into the director of your own life. People with a strong internal locus of control see themselves as the source of their own outcomes. Their happiness isn't the result of social media reactions or what other people think of them. It's a result of their own choices, their own actions, and their own mindset. They are the cause, not the effect. And that, right there, is the ultimate freedom. When you have an internal locus of control, you become emotionally resilient. Social media and the opinions of others, they just stop being a scoreboard that determines your self-worth. Instead, they become what they always should have been, just simple tools that you can pick up or put down whenever you want. So, what does it feel like when you put all of this together? When that spotlight finally fades and you find your own center of gravity? Well, it feels like quiet confidence. So the key takeaway is this. True confidence doesn't need to perform, it just is. It understands that privacy creates a space for peace. It values deep meaning way more than shallow metrics, and it's rooted in a secure self-esteem which is stable and internal, not a fragile ego that needs constant praise just to survive. Just let that sink in for a moment. Your value is not determined by your visibility. You are whole and complete, whether anyone is watching or not. Your worth is inherent. It's not granted to you by an audience. And that's the real question to carry with you. With all that energy you are spending managing how people see you, what will you build? What will you learn? Who will you become? If you love understanding the hidden psychology behind human behavior, subscribe to PsypherMind right now for more topics like this. Because on this channel, we don't just scroll through people's lives, we decode their minds.